I'm being led to tell someone that the reason the warfare is amping up right now is because God is showing you how the enemy attacks you when you're tired. So if he can strengthen your obedience in this season when you're tired, you'll be unstoppable. When everyone would expect you to fail, you're going to be thriving. When people would expect you to take a break, you're only going to be resting while you're still moving. You're spiritually pacing yourself through your obedience to God. That's why it's so uncomfortable. That's why in the areas you're weak, God is made strong, which is why he needs you to be dependent on him more and more daily, because you're only going to get these little pockets of air to breathe, and then it's a dead sprint. You know how those relay races are set up in track? You have people who are waiting for the baton, and you have to be ready to pass it on. You have to be ready, full sprint. You don't rest until you pass it on. You don't rest until your obedience is fully fulfilled. You don't rest until that assignment is finished and executed properly. You don't rest until God has told you this is your next assignment. You don't stop until he tells you to stop. I remember like 2 years ago, I made a video on TikTok talking about the red light, green light game. You have to be able to pace yourself spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally to be equipped and to be fully functional in the position that God is preparing you for. You can't be all gas and no brake. You can't be all brake and no gas. You can't start on the stop sign. You can't be revving up your momentum and your spiritual fire when you should have already been in motion. Physics, chemistry, physics, all of these things are working together for your good. Every single thing that you see that man has no control over was created and foundationalized and thought of by God. He knew you. He foreknew you before you were in your mother's womb. He knew your thoughts. He knew what you were going to battle with. He knew how your emotional imbalances from all of the traumatic things that have happened to you from prolonged periods of acute stress would affect your nervous system. He knew everything that was going to break you because he was put in position already, beloved, to build you in front of the people that broke you down. Remember whose you are when you don't know who you are. Because the identity crisis you're going through right now is part of the initiation process. You're not supposed to know who you are because you're still becoming the version of you that was not supposed to foreknow you because it was God who foreknew you. He knows what you're going through. You don't have to tell him. It's good to confess it to him. But if he's sleeping, you should be sleeping. And in my honest right mind, I'm thinking right now to myself, how am I supposed to do that when I can barely breathe? When I only have enough water for right now? You know how many times this week I have been eating and nothing has stayed down? Like that hollowing feeling when you're drinking water or you're drinking something that's supposed to keep you full but you're still empty? Do you know that that's all a part of the design of how God formed you in this season? Because he knew that if you got full off of the things of the world, your dependence on him would weaken. And where he's taking you, your dependence on him has to be so tight and so divine, because where he's taking you is going to rely only upon his grace to open doors for you with people. You can't find these people. It's the Holy Spirit that moves you by obedience to where they are. You can't change the hearts of people. You can only change yourself within the circumstances that are pulling at you, that are breaking you down, that are hitting on your stomach. I keep touching my gut. I'm taking these birth control pills because it's managing these stressful symptoms. Never in my life did I ever think that my period would cause me to go crazy. Never in my life did I think that I wasn't going to be able to manage my own sight. You know, I almost went blind because of this. I almost went blind because of the spiritual attacks that have been on my life. Trying to make TikTok videos, trying to walk through this valley and talk to you about how important it is to depend upon God for your sustenance, because he's sustaining you with the water, which is the manna that he's given you. This message is so layered because there are so many things that happen within the spiritual realm that only somebody who is attuned to the spirit would be able to articulate and bring into words through their own knowledge and the mind of which they can understand to understand what is happening. The reason why you feel completely out of sorts right now is because you are coming completely out of your old self. God is fully delivering you that you would have no trace of anything from your past that would grow a bud into a tree to limit you. Those strongholds are being cleared out. The bewilderment is the initiation to process. It's better for you to be uncomfortable in the unknowing and the unraveling. So when you're in the becoming, you don't carry a spirit of pride. This is part of breaking your pride, humbling your character, working on your heart, fixing and aligning you and making straight a path in the wilderness for the God that you serve. This is why I love John so much. People call him creepy John, but I call him the truth. When you grow in spiritual maturity, you will learn to love the things of God that were once very cringy to understand at some point in your journey, to appreciate the quality of the wisdom that comes from the crazy things that we don't make sense of until later in our journey. The crazy things that we can't make sense of until later. That's how you know you've been spiritually maturing with God. That's how you understand why not understanding is actually better for you. For it was good that I was afflicted is something that we say once we have come out of something. But how hard is it to say that when you're going through it? Blessed is he who trusts in the Lord. Cursed is he who trusts in man. You're blessed. You're blessed. But you are being conditioned to wear your blessings well. There's nothing worse than somebody who has survived hell and looks like a know-it-all on the other side. There's nothing worse than somebody who's supposed to be humble, but your spirit is still prideful. Even though you've learned how to suffer and you've understood what it meant to be abased, you can't carry a haughty and prideful spirit as a means of vengeance. Because we know where vengeance belongs. It belongs to the Lord. If you hold on to offenses and it shows in your face after you've already walked through fire, then you're not fully delivered. Because you need to have an essence of innocence. That's why in the Bible it says, when you're fasting, don't let it show on your face. Don't let it show in your conduct or demeanor. Walk like nothing's happening to you. Walk like nothing is happening to you when you're going through trials and persecutions, because it's your Father that's carrying that weight for you. This was a loaded message for somebody. Take everything to the Lord in prayer and pray from a place of true humility so that you wouldn't be caught off guard when the enemy's attacks hit you.